Was it
Hey guys, welcome to another live stream. But this will end up being a video. So, let's check it out.
Okay.
Synonymous with comic book villain. He's sadistic, undeniably evil, and pure chaos in the most entertaining form. And the hero-villain relationship he has with Batman is of epic proportions. Many authors and illustrators have had their go at the Prince of Darkness, but there are a few alternate versions out there outside of the mainstream DC continuity that have really stood out over the years. So let's take a look at our top 10 alternate Jokers. Also, spoilers. You've been warned.
I'm not an idiot.
And at number 10, we've got Gotham by Gaslight. So this steampunk Elseworlds version of Batman is pretty cool on its own, taking place in 1889 and featuring Jack the Ripper. But the Joker makes an appearance in it as a serial killer whose MO was marrying and poisoning women. He tries to commit suicide by taking the poison himself, but it instead leaves him with a permanent grin. While this isn't the most prominent alternate Joker appearance on the list, we had to include it, mainly because the prospect of an 1889 Joker is just too good to not talk about. The only downside is that I wish we had seen more of him. And at number 9, we've got Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew. Alright, let's take a look at one that's super adorable. So Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew was a short-lived series that DC pumped out in 1982 after their group of furry superheroes made an appearance in the new Teen Titans number 16. It features a series of side characters that resemble some of our favorite DC heroes, such as Batmouse, Wonder Wabbit, and Aquaduck. So, of course, Batmouse needs a nemesis fitting of his animal exterior in this world, too. Meet the Porker. He's everything you would imagine him to be. Literally, he is just a pig dressed up as the Joker. With hair. But A for effort, guys. And number 8 is Amalgam Comics. So back in 1996, DC and Marvel worked on a combined publication called Amalgam Comics. If you've ever heard of the Dark Claw character that was a combination of Batman and Wolverine, this is where it came from. It didn't last long though, but it did include a few fascinating versions of fan favorites that managed to gain a bit of a cult following over the years. So, meet the Hyena. He's an amalgamation of the Joker, Harley Quinn, and Marvel's Sabretooth, which makes sense since his nemesis is Logan Wayne, aka Darkclaw. He has the ability to rapidly regenerate and heal his injuries, and was a part of the Weapon X program, which was an attempt at creating living weapons. Sound familiar? Anyway, according to Marvel, Amalgam Comics is known as Earth 9602, but DC has never actually mentioned what Earth this universe takes place on in their universe. So it's safe to say that the Hyena likely won't be making any return appearances anytime soon. Up next at number 7, we've got Batman Bloodstorm. In 1994's Bloodstorm, we have a Joker who takes over a group of vampires after their leader, Dracula, dies. What a boss. So of course he faces off against Batman in this one, but Batman has been turned to a vampire. Plus, he also takes on Selina Kyle, who is a werecat version of herself. Yeah, they managed to defeat Joker and his bloodthirsty minions, but not without killing Selina in the process, which causes Batman to suck the Joker's blood. Out of grief, of course. But then he stakes the Joker so he can't come back as a vampire. But the Joker forced Bats to kill, so who's the real winner in this one? I'll let you guys decide. Up next, number 6, we've got Thrill Killer and Thrill Killer 62. So this one's actually pretty cool. Another Elseworlds addition to the DC universe taking place on Earth 37. Thrill Killer was a miniseries in 1997 that was set in the 1960s. The Joker in this one is a female version named Bianca Steeplechase, and she is oh so sapphic. Really. But she's just as evil. Her crimes in this one include poisoning Robin, torturing Bruce Wayne, and pretending to be the mayor's wife. She also has a thing for Harley Quinn. Because what Joker wouldn't? And at number 5, we've got Batman Beyond. So if you guys are fans of DC's animated universe, you probably really dug Batman Beyond. Personally, at times, I thought Terry was a tad annoying, but overall, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini really killed it with this show. Anyway, the Joker makes an appearance in the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker film, where we also get a flashback to the Joker fighting Bruce Wayne's Batman. Barbara Gordon, now retired, tells Terry, our new Batman, about how Batman and Joker's fight went down, and why Bruce believed him to be dead. After forcing Batman to watch a home video that he made of him torturing Tim Drake's Robin, he also turns Tim Drake into a miniature junior Joker, and Batman loses his shit. Anyway, back in Terry's timeline, the Joker claims to have returned 35 years later, leading a gang called Jokers, spelled with a Z. Turns out it's Tim Drake who can transform into a clone of the Joker via secretly implanted microchip, as one does. At number 4, we've got Martha Wayne from Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox. So Martha Wayne makes this list at our number 4 spot because of how messed up this one is. It occurs in the Flashpoint timeline, and if you haven't seen Flashpoint Paradox, here's how the narrative plays out. So Bruce Wayne's origin story doesn't go down the same way it normally does. In this timeline, it's Bruce who's shot dead, not his parents. Seeing Bruce die in front of her took a toll on Martha's sanity, and she ends up becoming the Joker. I mean, look at that face. That's a face of someone who is really not okay. From here, chaos ensues and she kidnaps Harvey Dent. Luckily, Martha doesn't stay the Joker for too long as the Flash reverses the timeline by going back in time. And at number 3 is Batman Nosferatu. So get ready to geek out over this one, guys. So back in 1999, DC published Batman Nosferatu via its Elseworlds imprint. And it's part of a trilogy based on German Expressionist cinema. So if you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's a movement that occurred from before World War I up until the 1920s. And it's a modernist movement dealing with subjective perspectives that sometimes distort reality in order to evoke emotional responses. Anyway, in this one shot, the Joker appears as the Laughing Man, a demented cyborg patient of Dr. Arkham's, who, by the way, holds psychomantic seances for the entertainment of the wealthy people living in Metropolis.
Well then,
I don't
That's-
speak that sciencey.
pretty creepy.
Though the Laughing Man tries to
What?
kill Bruce Wayne, it is the reason why he actually becomes Batman, or rather Nosferatu. Try that on as an origin story. Also, can we just bring up the fact that this might be the most horrific the Joker has ever looked?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Pretty terrifying. Definitely check this one out, guys, and make sure to give the other 2 parts of the trilogy a go. Superman's Metropolis and Wonder Woman's The Blue Amazon. The Clown Prince of Crime is back for another alternate list. And yes, I know I said Prince of Darkness by accident last time, guys, which a couple of you pointed out. I am not infallible, unfortunately. But hey, it's not like he's never been a vampire before. That being said, we're back with a part 2. So without any more hesitation, let's jump right in. Starting off this list with a bit of fun, our number 10 spot goes to Lego Joker. Voiced by Zach Galifianakis, this Joker is a tad more sensitive than some of the other versions on this list. The whole plot of the Lego Batman movie actually starts off with Bats hurting the Joker's feelings. How? Well, he tells him he's not as important in his life as he thinks he is. And at number 9, we have Pirate Joker. We touched on his pirate Batman counterpart on one of our top 10 alternate Batman lists, but let's take a look at Bat's foe, the Laughing Man. He's a sadistic pirate who tries to get Capitana Felina, aka Catwoman, to seduce Captain Leatherwing, aka Batman. The two eventually have a confrontation where Laughing Man kills Robin, or rather Robin Redblade, when he jumps in front of Leatherwing and takes a bullet for him. And Leatherwing then stabs the Laughing Man and nails his body to the mast of his ship, so very piratey of him. Up next, number 8, we have All-Star Joker. This one's from Frank Miller and Jim Lee's All-Star Batman and Robin, and he first appeared in issue number 8. He's introduced in a scene in a hotel room where he's having sex with a woman named Donna. After they finish, he strangles her to death, all while professing his love to her. Doesn't really seem that romantic to me. Aside from Bruce bullying the crap out of Dick Grayson the entire time through this comic, this one has also been pretty popular online by having a couple of artists transform the Joker into what's known as the Yakuza Joker. Give it a Google, people. It's pretty cool. Miller has also stated that All-Star is in the same continuity as The Dark Knight Returns, which retroactively was clarified by DC, stating that all Frank Miller's Batman works are in the same continuity. And at 7, we have Tim Burton's Joker. Who doesn't love Jack Nicholson? Burton's 1989 film briefly explored the Joker's origin, giving us some backstory on a criminal named Jack Napier, who was the man responsible for killing Thomas and Martha Wayne when he and his partner robbed the family that fateful night. This backstory connection made the relationship between Bats and the Clown Prince even more nefarious. And a morbid fact for you all, when Nicholson had heard that Heath Ledger had died after playing the Joker, the actor hinted in an interview that he had warned Ledger, ambiguously stating, "I told him so." And at 6, we have the Joker from the Batman animated series. Voiced by the amazing Mark Hamill, this Joker is a huge fan favorite, especially for those of you who grew up watching the series. He starts out as a gang leader that stages his first robbery at the Ace Chemical plant, where he first encounters Batman and falls into a drainage vat of chemical waste. He remains on as Batman's main nemesis throughout the whole series and its spin-offs. While this one is technically the same Joker that we featured on our last list in Batman Beyond, it's arguable that his appearance in the show helped solidify the Joker as one of the most notorious fictional villains in mainstream pop culture. And at 5, we have Red Hood of Earth 23 from Batman the Brave and the Bold. On Earth 23, the man who's supposed to become the Joker didn't. Instead, he got married. But he didn't live happily ever after. When his wife and unborn child died, he becomes a vigilante who goes after that Earth's Owl Man, who tosses him into a vat of chemicals, disfiguring him into his usual Joker appearance, smile and everything. But already having experienced immense grief, Red Hood decides to take on the Injustice Syndicate and Owlman for good, and fails, but manages to escape, eventually meeting Batman disguised as Owlman, and the two end up working together. And at 4, we have the Arkham vs. Joker. So yes, this one isn't really an alternate, but a lot of you guys want to see him on this part 2 list, so I had to include him. Another Joker voiced by Mark Hamill and Troy Baker in the Origins game. This Joker gets real intense. For those unfamiliar, the first game, Arkham Asylum, starts off with the Joker taking over the asylum and kidnapping Commissioner Gordon. Later on, he injects himself with some Titan, which is scary as f***. And no spoilers, but the ending of Arkham City is, well, it gave me chills. Have you guys played the Arkham games? Which one is your favorite? And at 3, we have the Jokester of Earth 3. Here we have a Joker who isn't evil. So on Earth 3, there's an alternate Batman called Owlman, similar to the one that we mentioned before, but different Earth, who is basically a villain as and the Joker? Well, he's the good guy, a dude named Jack, going by the name of the Jokester. He was a struggling comedian at a comedy club called The Last Laugh, but after being made fun of, he decides to target Owlman with his jokes, making him a bit of a hero amongst the people of Gotham who are tired of Owlman's reign of terror. Owlman doesn't dig this, though. He murders Jack's manager, Harley Quinn, and slices open Jack's mouth, so he becomes the Jokester, determined to get vengeance on Owlman. Guess owls are d***s. And at number 2, we have the 1960s Joker. Played by Cesar Romero in both the series and the 1996 film, alongside Adam West Batman, this Joker is just as campy as West Batman, in a lovable way, of course. Some of his weapons include a joy buzzer, which is like a joke buzzer that you'd wear on your hand, except the Jokers would shock people and knock them out. Isn't really that funny of a joke. And a joke flower, which looked like an ordinary water spray joke flower, except this one sometimes sprayed out knockout gas. There's a theme here, I'm feeling. And fun fact, Cesar Romero refused to shave his mustache off for the role, so the makeup department would have to cover it up, and it's pretty noticeable in some close-ups. And finally, in our number 1 spot, we have Heath Ledger's Joker from the Dark Knight 2008 film. We had to wrap up our top 10 list with this one, guys. The Joker is no easy character to portray. Looking at you, Jared Leto. And when Heath Ledger was announced to be taking on the role in Chris Nolan's follow-up Batman film, a lot of people weren't really into the idea, but then they saw his performance. Holy shit. Ledger took so much of what makes the Joker a phenomenal villain and crafted a unique version of the character that kept us all on the edges of our seats. And that hospital scene, guys, need I say more? So there we have it. Any other versions of the Joker that we missed this time around? Let us know your favorite in those comments below. And make sure you check out our first part of the list too. For now, I'm Kelly Pally, and you guys have been watching Top 10 Nerd.
Top 10 alternate
Hey guys,
versions
welcome back to
of
Top 10 Nerd.
Deadpool.
I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie. You got a favorite Merc with a superhero from alternative, otherwise known as Major Frowny Face. While it's always fun to see Deadpool goofing around, sometimes it's also interesting to see him take on a rare, serious role. This Deadpool of Earth 6466 lives in a reality where Mexico, the US, and Canada had merged, forming the United States of North America. In this reality, his skin is clear and doesn't appear to have his patented healing factor, which is strange, but it's pretty nice to see him kick butt like a normal person for once. I wouldn't want to read a whole series about him, but it's funny to watch Deadpool annoying the crap out of himself. Number 9, Deadman Wade. Deadman Wade is the Wade Wilson of Earth 295, and is one of the chief assassins of Apocalypse, later becoming one of his Pale Riders. He's a masochist obsessed with feeling pain, which his sadistic teammate Danielle Moonstar is happy to provide. He was later recruited by Dreadpool to join the evil Deadpool Corps. Deadman Wade is one of the stranger versions of Deadpool, not only because of the extreme masochism thing, but Wade's usual light-hearted jokes and sarcasm are replaced by the sad and confused version. While I wouldn't want him to become a series regular, it's interesting to see how different Wade's reaction to his condition could have been if he wasn't so mind-numbingly positive about everything. Number 8, Kidpool. Kidpool is the Earth 10330 version of Wade Wilson. He's a young boy at the Xavier Orphanage for Troubled Boys, who finds himself something of an outcast because of his troublemaking and overall annoyingness. Shocker. In one story, he talked Scott Summers into escaping detention so they could go to the... Shocker.
Hold up, he was a something like. Yeah, let him talk, sure.
In one story, he talked Scott Summers into escaping detention so they could go to the prom, and he could hook up with Jean Grey, who attended the all-girls school. After he caused a bunch of trouble at the dance, picking fights with Logan and pretty much everyone, our Deadpool appears and recruits Kidpool to Deadpool Corps. It's kind of funny when you realize that Kidpool isn't really any more juvenile than the normal Deadpool, but that's because our Wade has all the maturity of a level 3 Caterpie. Number 7, Deadpool Dinosaur. Deadpool Dinosaur might seem like a T-Rex version of Deadpool, and in a way he is, but it's a bit more complicated than that. He's actually an amalgamation of Deadpool and Devil Dinosaur from Earth 78411, who gain powers from being burned alive, and he travels with his companion Moon Boy. Deadpool Dinosaur seems to have similar powers, presumably also with Deadpool's healing factor, with a Moon Boy decked out in army garb on his back. Do I really have to explain why a T-Rex version of Deadpool is awesome? I didn't think so. Number 6, Franken Deadpool. Okay, I know his name is really Evil Deadpool, but I stand by the idea that Franken Deadpool would have been a better name. This evil version of Deadpool originated on Earth 616, when a bunch of pieces cut off of the real Deadpool over the years were thrown into a dumpster. Their healing factor caused them to fuse together. Lacking the conscience of the original Deadpool, Evil Deadpool is a mean and murderous dude and causes a bunch of problems, especially when fighting for Dreadpool in the Evil Deadpool Corps. While he's not quite as funny as Deadpool, he still has a lot of his personality and humor, which is made funnier by the fact that he's otherwise super evil. Plus, he has 2 right hands, which is just spectacular. Number 5, Wolverine Pool. The Wade Wilson of Earth 1946 was put through the Weapon X program and had his skeleton bonded with adamantium, giving him the regeneration factor and the claws of Wolverine. This is the perfect combination of 2 of the coolest Canadians in comics. Wow, my alliteration game is on point. Wolverine Pool is recruited by Deadpool and joins the evil Deadpool Corps and helps to fight against the real Deadpool Corps in one of my favorite team versus team battles in all of Marvel. So many Deadpools. Number 4, Deadpool. Like Deadpool, not just normal Deadpool. It's hard to make it clear that you're using an acronym when you're talking. Anyway, this Deadpool is a combination of MODOK and Deadpool and stands for Destructive Engine of Assassination Despite Panpygoptosis Obsessed with Opponent Liquidation. Oh man, I got that on the first try. It's actually a pretty funny name because Panpygoptosis means short legs, and just look at those things. It's super fitting that the acronym of a Deadpool version would be hilarious, and while he's defeated pretty quickly, I just think he looks so ridiculous and his name is too clever to leave out. Number 3, Galactapool. Galactapool is certainly one of the more epic versions of Deadpool, as he's the Galactus-inspired version. Even though this guy is huge and speaks very properly, if you look past the grandiosity, you see the same old attitude. Just this one line makes Galactapool a classic for me. Galactapool's cosmic appetites demand great sacrifice. Though this world dies, I know that I too suffer. For a moment on the lips doth equate to a lifetime on the hips. It's so good. He's later killed by Lady Deadpool when she crashes the Deadpool Corps ship, hilariously called the B. Arthur, into his head. Just one of many deaths at the hand of B. Arthur. Don't let her kindly exterior fool you. She's one crazy. Number 2, Headpool. Headpool is probably one of the best known versions of Deadpool, as he's made quite a few appearances alongside our own Wade. Headpool is the version of Deadpool from Earth 2149 who was infected by a virus that turned him into a zombie. His body ended up getting chucked into the fan of a swamp boat, but the head lived on. He takes the whole merc with a mouth thing a bit too far, becoming, as he puts it, the merc with only a mouth. No guns, no healing factor, no limbs, no problem. Number 1, Lady Deadpool. Also known as Boobs, because of course she is. This one's probably no surprise to the Deadpool fans out there. Lady Deadpool is one of the most famous versions of the merc. Wanda Wilson is the female version of Wade from Earth 3010. Wanda fought for the rebel group against the loyalist army of General America, who knew her from a past battle where he had lost his arm. I talked about that in Alternate Captain America Part 2. My goodness, we've gone meta. She's a great character. Lady Deadpool is just as sassy and hilarious as her male counterpart. Plus, I feel less confused when I check her out in a tight outfit compared to checking out Wade, which I totally don't do often. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smack that thumbs up button, and if you want to see more nerdy videos, including other alternative version lists, subscribe to Top 10 Nerd. Let me know which pool you like best in the comments down below, and also tell us if you want a part 2. I'm starting to run out of things to call him other than Merc with a mouth. Maybe Canuck who likes to... Nope, that won't do. I'll keep brainstorming. Until next time, I'm Rob McKenzie Lafergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.
Well, guys, that's the end of that. Oh, don't. There it is.
Whoa.
Well, guys, that's the end of that. And just watch. Just watch. Alright, guys, so that's the end of that. Be the end of this live broadcast. I don't think I'll be doing it tonight. Today. Alright, well, see you guys in the next video. Or live stream or whatever next.